Hello everyone, and greetings from the Croatian town of Opatija. I'm here with my mother and a family friend. He bought a house recently, so he was inviting us for the entire previous year to visit, and because of all of my travels and everything, I had no opportunity to come, so now I finally did. And I just wanted to share a piece of news that occurred yesterday in Serbia. You're most probably not aware of this because, of course, there are so many horrible situations occurring around the world that it's difficult to keep up with the bad news, but I'm here to catch you up to speed. So what happened? In the Serbian city of Novi Sad, which is the second largest city in Serbia after Belgrade, a steel canopy, I believe that's what it's called. It's like this protruding structure that is meant to give shade, collapsed and killed 14 people. So one of the victims was a 6-year-old girl, one of the wounded was a 14-year-old girl, and I'm not really sure, but it might be that some of her limbs were amputated later in the hospital. Definitely some young people who have survived will require amputations, and there were at the very least 15 to 30 wounded because it was a very busy day, and a lot of people were going in to and fro this bus station building to which this canopy was attached. The reason why I want to report on this news, because I know that there are a lot of people among you who maybe sometimes dream of moving into Serbia, who think that Serbia is this based, trad, whatever, and from some criteria when it comes to like traditional values it is, but you also need to know the full truth of what you're actually admiring, because essentially Serbia is a state that's run by mafia, and that's by criminals. That's all the way. That's the sole way how to put it. And I'm sad to say this, but very often when you hear some kind of unrest in Kosovo, our southern province, which has proclaimed by itself its independence from Serbia, sometimes, sadly, a lot of that unrest is actually caused by different criminal gangs in Serbia under the protection of the Serbian state, which is again portrayed as this, injustice that the Albanians are committing against the Serbs. And trust me, there's a lot of injustice that Albanians are, committing against the Serbs, but it's not all injustice. Sometimes it's just simple, plain crime that requires proper punishment. So there is a footage of that canopy falling, and if you guys seen it, there was literally no way for someone to jump at the side, to save themselves. There was no creaking sound, there was no, crumbling debris. It simply fell like this. And that was it. That was it for the victims. A lot of people, there was immediate emergency response, but I think that the last person was saved some 6 hours after it fell, because there was a lot of concrete there, and the split second this occurred, our government went into full damage control mode. And of course, by damage control, I mean absolving themselves of any kind of responsibility. Case in point, the statement by the mayor of Novi Sad. His statement starts out great. He expresses condolences to the families of the victims, of the wounded and the dead. He expresses solidarity. Then he starts to thank a long list of people, including, but not limited to, the emergency providers, responders, the doctors, nurses, technical staff, all great. And then he topples it off with a little foul, evil cherry of devilry, and he says, "We are going to find the person or persons who did not notify the responsible authorities." Let me translate it if you didn't catch it. The responsible authorities aren't responsible. They're not to blame. They can't be, ever. This is solely the responsibility of some people who did not notify the responsible authorities. A lot of our politicians, like the Ministry of the infrastructure and traffic, our horrible mafia boss president followed suit. Very soon after the accident, like a couple of hours afterwards, they said that this part of the building wasn't renovated recently. Why did they say that? Quite recently, this entire bus station was renovated heavily, and it had not one but two ceremonial grand openings. Why? Well, I mean, this is Serbia. People like to, take these major ceremonies for opening things, especially during the elections, to showcase the things that they did. And these 14 dead people and who knows how many heavily wounded people add to their tally. They started claiming that this part of the building wasn't renovated. However, there are two issues with this. The first issue, which is plain truth, it was renovated, and there were many news articles from that time. And by the way, they're starting to revise these articles heavily. A lot of people posted, of course, their footage of the work being done to that canopy, and it simply does not hold up to scrutiny. The most charitable interpretation of this false claim is that the canopy itself wasn't touched per se, but that they, leaned these pillars and glass constructions on it so that it lost balance. There was no, proper static to the canopy, and it simply crumbled at one point. That's one thing. And the second thing is, even if you're completely right, even if you're 100% completely right that you did not touch this in 60 years since this was built, then it crumbled because you didn't do anything about it. As one of my church friends would say, this building, not a pebble fell off this building until the handyman came, which is in the last couple of years. This was done by a Chinese investor firm, the renovations. I mean, it was clearly a Temu AliExpress renovations. I think we can only thank God Almighty that the whole edifice didn't come crashing down like London Bridge from a nursery rhyme. Yeah, that's it. In the footage of the fall, there is one man who was on the bench underneath the canopy. He stands up, leaves it, and like five seconds later, the canopy falls. As somebody would say, he should celebrate that day as a second birthday. And as for people who are doing this and who are absolving themselves of accountability, and that's a whole lot of our structure, because again, these contracts with this firm are not public. To quote a Reddit post, may their mother cackle at their grave. That's it. Bye.